All right, guys, I am live. I'm joining you guys, or you're joining me, I guess, for our standard, ordinary, plain as white rice Friday night gun news. And as I always do, I'm going to give you guys a second to come in here, and I'm going to go to our live stream here and get to the point where I can follow you guys as far as comments and whatnot. All right, I'm in the room now. Let's see here. Come on, guys, where you at? I'm going to, I don't think I have, pop open a beer. Tonight's flavor is Yuengling Light. Let's see, guys. I've got 7:01 right now. And I'll wait for you guys to come in. I kind of expanded my Christmas lights down there a little bit farther down towards the Armalite rifle at the very end down there. I have another set, and I need to run it, so I can get this right, down that wall right there, because it just stops right there. It stops right there. So I need to get that rectified. Let's see here. Not a very good signal that I have right now. Yeah, signal kind of sucks. All right, well, I'm gonna hang out for a minute, wait for people to come in the room. As of yet, I don't see, I mean, I see you guys coming in, but the chat room is dead, it's empty. I don't know if we just got watchers right now or what the deal is. It is 7:02, according to my clock, Central Standard Time. And let's see. Yeah, my picture is a whole lot different. That picture over there, I can see more from, like you guys can see more than what I can see on my actual phone that I'm streaming from. I'm just I'm looking at where my, what's up, Misfit Minuteman? I was looking at where I'm framed everything, and of course I see yeah, I can barely see that PTR right there. It's funny, I can't see it on my camera, but I can see it in the video right there. That green gun you see right there is a PTR, a G3. Interesting. And I'm trying to see here. That frame looks okay right down there, and then yeah, I'm just sorry, guys, I'm killing some time. Jonathan Borley, good morning. Where you at, man? That might be morning. DB Cooper, what's up? Sarasota Shaners, Misfit Miniman, what do you think of the C308? I got one. I got let's see, which brand do I have? Oh, that's a Century Arms that I have in the C308. And then that PTR, I kind of run them together. I'm probably going to do a review on both of them together. Both good guns. Caleb Turner's in, Jonathan Borley, Keith Gregory, Philip Snyder. Caleb asks, concealed carry with one in the chamber, my thoughts. Oh, Jonathan's from South Africa. What's up, man? Gosh, South Africa. I don't know if I'd want to be down there right now. Hopefully you got guns down there, because you'll need them. That place is in massive disarray, at least from what I can see. I mean, obviously, I'm speaking based on what we see in the media. We don't have a direct pipeline to you guys, so I'm not really sure. Let's see. Concealed carry one in the chamber. No pun intended, but that is a loaded question. I am not one of those guys that feels like it's my responsibility to school everybody else on how they should carry. There's a whole lot of YouTube guys out there, a whole lot of guys on Facebook, people in general, who feel like sorry, I had some in my mouth, I guess, a piece of my label or something. They feel like they should tell you how to carry, regardless of what they might their situation, their scenario might be. I'm going to tell you that whatever you're comfortable carrying, you should carry. Um, I've carried and I carry both ways, and I have my reasons. Usually I carry with one in the chamber, of course. That's just typically how I will carry. I feel like that's important. I will tell you this: I have a special needs son, and I carry a gun on me all the time. So, not when I'm sleeping, of course, but other than that, all the time. So, if I'm playing with my son doesn't understand guns. My son is not, the beauty of it is, even being special needs, the fact that he's grown up around guns, he's 10 years old. The fact that he's grown up around guns, he's not intrigued with them. He sees them laying around. I could, but I don't. I could leave a loaded gun sitting right next to him and it wouldn't matter because he wouldn't touch it. He has no desire to play with guns. They're not mysterious to him. He doesn't feel like he has to grab one and play with it. He's just been around them his whole life. He's seen me breaking them down. He's seen me cleaning them. He's not interested. It's like, whatever, he's seen it 100 times. It's like seeing the rug at our front door. He doesn't open the door and go play with it because he's seen it 100 times. However, when I'm playing with my son, I don't want one in the pipe. If somebody is going to be kicking my door in, I know you got the hardcore badasses out there that, oh man, well, you can't predict when something's going to happen. Kiss my butt. I'm going to do what I got to do to keep my family safe. And that also means from a gun safety standpoint, not just killing perpetrators and shooting at bad guys. So I make sure that if I'm doing something direct contact with my son or whatever, I'll take it out of the chamber. But I keep my gun on me. I've been lucky enough I've never had a gun fall out of my holster or anything like that. I'm pretty conscious about my holsters, and probably because of my son, but I make sure I have the right amount of retention, that it's not going to fall out anywhere. But I've heard some of these asses out there on the internet say, will you be better off carrying a brick than a gun without one in the chamber? That is so stupid. It's all about what you're comfortable doing. I've heard people say, well, it's because you don't have proper training. You know what? What if it is? What if that's the way somebody is? What if somebody feels comfortable doing that? Yeah, I agree that if they're walking and somebody that they have no idea, there's no self-awareness on their part or anything like that, they get jumped and the guy immediately grabs them and they pull their gun out. Yeah, I get it. They're probably not going to have time to put one in the chamber. But what about the other 99% of the times? Whenever he say where there's a mass shooting, mass shooters very rarely get the jump on anybody that has a gun. We see it all the time in the news where mass shooters are always being thwarted by gun owners. Well, I would like to think that if I'm in, let's say a Walmart, for instance, if I think there was a mass shooting or a shooting in Walmart, if there's a guy in there that wants to have a mass shooting and I'm in the store somewhere and there's other guys in there, I would like to think that whether they have one in the chamber or not, that they're there. Because if the shooter starts to shoot at people, that guy is going to have more than enough time to chamber one, because hopefully he doesn't just start sprinting right at the shooter and then start reaching for his gun to pull it out to shoot at the shooter. If he's smart, there's a self-preservation thing going on right there. I don't care how that guy carries. I'm just glad he's got a gun, and we all should be. But no, you got the guys out there on YouTube and all these other places. You shouldn't carry at all if you don't have one in the pipe. Let me tell you something. That's the kind of crap right there that makes us lose a lot of things, because we sit here and fight over stupid stuff like that. If a person is not comfortable having one in the chamber, so what? You know what? It's not endangering me. It's not endangering you. If anything, they're the only one in danger, and that's only if somebody gets to jump on them. That's a big if. The big if of somebody getting the jump on them is no different than the if that they might get jumped. It's the same kind of hypothetical situation. I hate that kind of bickering. I don't like it. But I can tell you that, excuse me, I don't discriminate against how somebody wants to carry. If somebody wants to carry all the time without one in the chamber. I don't have a problem with it. At least you got a gun on you. You know what? You're that much closer to being safe. I don't, yeah, and I know you can't predict where you're going to get mugged. I very rarely go in places where I'm going to get jumped. I'm not a pie in the sky kind of guy that says, "Oh man, you know, I only stay in areas that are safe." Look, I have some pretty awesome situational awareness. I'll tell you guys, I'm not bragging. I'm almost paranoid and probably appear paranoid whenever I'm out in public because I'm pretty aware of what's behind me. You know, there's a 360-degree halo around me all the time that I'm looking. You know, where I sit in restaurants. Me and my son, we eat at the same place every single morning. We eat breakfast. Again, my son has special needs, so he's got a routine that he needs. We eat at the exact same place. We sit at the exact same table. And I sit in a corner with my back to the corner, and I can see everything. Unless you break through the glass window that can't be opened, you're not going to get the jump on me. Again, I'm not bragging. What I'm saying is, you know, situational awareness takes care of a whole lot of that stuff. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that you should carry one way or the other because that's not my place to say. I say it's whatever fits you. I also say that it's no different than the type of gun that you carry. You know, what's to say all these guys out there that are carrying a Glock that has 17 rounds, they look down on a guy that's carrying 8 rounds in a 1911. So what? He's got 8 rounds. You know, same scenario. I don't care what he's carrying. I'm just glad he's carrying. You know, why can't we all like be on the same page sometimes and, you know, at least team up in that respect. But man, I'm telling you, it's so funny to me. I'll watch the Facebook posts and the YouTube posts, and it's like, I know what it was. I saw an article this past week. I think it was a guy got attacked by a bear, I think it was, and he didn't have one in the chamber. Come on, man. Now that's kind of stupid. If you're going out in the woods, that's like going hunting without one in the chamber. That's a little different. You don't go out in the woods with your secondary firearm with one not in the chamber. That's different. I got to call you out on that. And of course, the guy got gored. From what I understand, I didn't read the whole story. I just kind of glanced at the headlines. But yeah, I mean, the guy I think he got torn up and probably eaten, killed, whatever. Yeah, man, really? That would be like me, white as rice, Casper the Friendly Ghost, walking through Compton with a t-shirt that says, "I hate black guys." I'm not going to do that without one in the chamber. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to do that. And I don't hate black guys. I'm just giving you a ridiculous example. That's the same thing as going out into the woods where there's bears, wild animals, and you're going hunting. You don't go into a hostile environment without one in the chamber. That's an environment that you know is hostile. That's an environment that you know something bad is going to happen. That's not contemplating whether or not I might be safe in this neighborhood. This is going into a situation where you know, all right, something bad is going to happen. So yeah, I mean, when you're going hunting, that's just stupid. You know, this guy, how do you go out into the woods in any form of the wild? You know, when I go hunting, whether it's pig hunting, duck hunting, whatever, man, I got a secondary gun on my side. I've got a sidearm, no matter what I'm going hunting. Because I mean, obviously, whenever you're riding out to the blind or whatever, in most cases, especially if it's a guided hunt or whatever, you don't have one in the chamber. In fact, usually your bolt is held open so everybody can look at the shotguns or rifles or whatever they're carrying to know that everybody in that area is safe right now because we have unloaded guns. We either have chamber flags or we have locked open chambers. You know, that's the right way to do it. There's no accidental shots being fired or anything like that. But I have a loaded gun on my hip. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, you're going out in the woods. Who knows what's going to happen out there? So anyway, that's my spill on it. I've never put a video out, I don't think, on that. I'm pretty sure I haven't. But that's my take on it, man. I'm not one to sit here. I don't judge people, man. Everybody should know what their level of expertise is. And to me, you have to be smart enough to judge your level of expertise and gauge what you do with firearms based on that. No, it's not a one size fits all thing. If your training is And I'm not dogging anybody. There's hopefully there's a lot of new shooters out there. We have constantly new shooters. A new shooter should take it slow. If a new shooter is not comfortable pulling his holster out of his gun and reinserting his holster into his gun, if he hasn't gotten familiar with the type of holster he should have, I don't want to see a guy that's got a 1911 with a 3-pound trigger and carries it cocked and locked, and he's in some sloppy, what is it, Uncle Mike's cloth holster or something like that. Gets all sweaty and bends all up to where the fabric goes inside the trigger well or trigger guard. I don't want to see that. I don't want. That's not something that's going to make me comfortable. I hope that guy doesn't have one in the pipe. So I mean, things like that. That's what I'm saying. There's different scenarios, different situations, and to me, as you progress as a gun owner and as a gun user, you get better, you get more comfortable, and you get more confident. And you're gonna gauge your equipment and how you do things based on all of those things. So to me, again, it's not a one size fits all. We got to sit here and look at things rationally and try to deduce whether or not it's right for us. Man, it I get going to YouTube and even here. I mean, I try to give advice, but I try not to tell people what to do. But I get going on YouTube to look at things and to get pointers and stuff like that. But you should never let anybody tell you what to do if you're not comfortable doing it. If you're not comfortable doing it, tell somebody to hit the road. Do what you're comfortable doing. Um, that's my spiel. I get kind of pissed off about it because I see these guys online do it, and they belittle people that carry a certain way, and I don't get that. I mean, they constantly say you'd be better off not carrying anything. That's so stupid. How could you ever say you're better off carrying nothing if you don't have one in the chamber? That's just ignorant. Again, I'm not promoting carrying one not in the chamber because I carry one. I've got one in the chamber right now. I'm just saying to tell somebody to put their gun up, to leave their gun home just because they don't have one in the chamber is ridiculous. That's just stupid. And I'm sure there's some of those guys that probably look down on me because I say just the opposite. I don't care. I'm not looking for their approval. Just giving you my opinion. I think that makes sense. Again, when I play with my son, I still want my gun on my side. I'm still a hell of a lot closer to being safe with a gun on my side, playing with my son and not one in the chamber, than I would be with my gun inside the house with one in the chamber. I can promise you, where I'm at, say if I'm jumping on the trampoline or playing with my son out in my backyard, and I've got a handgun on my side and I don't have one in the chamber. The other alternative, because I don't just leave guns laying around that are loaded, would be to have a loaded gun in my house. Now, how safe am I? How safe am I playing on the trampoline with my son with a gun on my hip and none in the chamber? Or the alternative being the other one's in my house, it's got one in the chamber, and somebody kicks my door in or breaks in my house or comes into my yard or whatever to do me harm. How stupid is it to say that I'd be better off not having a gun on me at all? You see what I mean? It's just stupid. It's not even an opinion thing. It's just stupid, to make that kind of judgment. So anyway, that's my spiel, guys. Sorry to go off on that. All right, a couple of things that I kind of want to go over. Let's see. Of course, everybody knows about. We talked about it this kind of ahead of time last week, but the bump stock thing appears that it is going to go into effect this week. I got to tell y'all, man, that's my first knock against Trump, other than him tweeting all the time when he probably shouldn't. I'm so disgusted in Trump. We all know, and look, I voted for Trump. I'm going to throw that disclaimer out there right now because I would vote for him again if he continues some of his policy things that he's doing, but he's got to change his view on guns. He's got to educate himself on guns. I think the problem is Trump has never been a gun guy. His son is. And I think that's kind of a saving grace that Donald Trump Jr. is a gun guy. So I think if it came down to it, Trump Jr. would talk to his dad. But Donald Trump Sr. is just not a gun guy. He would call magazines clips. You see what I mean? He's that kind of guy. He knows about them. He knows what guns are, but he doesn't know anything about them. So again, he's probably the guy that if you start talking to my magazines, he would say, "Oh, do you really need a 30-round clip?" That he's like that, Again, nobody has ever accused Donald Trump of being a gun guy. So it's easy to trick and to manipulate somebody who's ignorant about a certain subject. And that's the problem. If 10 people are in a room and 7 of them say something anti-gun or that appears to be anti-gun, then Trump wants to move in that direction. That's the direction he feels like he needs to go in. I can guarantee you, after that Las Vegas shooting where there was allegedly a bump stock used, there was probably 20 or 30 people around Trump, and he was talking, and he was like, what's a bump stock? Because he didn't know what a bump stock was. He didn't. So somebody had to tell Trump what a bump stock was. And when they probably asked him, what's it used for? And they were probably like, nobody uses them. I mean, they're just a toy. I mean, you play with them. There's no practical use for it at all. And Trump was probably like, so then what are they even, why would you even get one? Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, shouldn't we ban those? Yeah, I mean, nobody uses them. If Trump would have heard from the public first and not his close quarters people, who again, none of them other than his son know about guns. No, they're not gun guys. They're not gun people. They're not versed on guns, how they're used. I mean, you got to figure these are all elite people. And I say elite, not from an opinion standpoint. They see themselves as elite, but they're also to the point where they all have armed security. They're not like me and you, where they have to protect themselves. Trump has never needed to carry a gun. I know he's carried a gun, and he's not altogether not a gun guy. Trump has his concealed carry in New York. I don't know. I think it's a revolver maybe that he's carried in the past. So, I mean, anyway, these people, they don't need that. They don't rely on their own personal safety to keep things right. They've got their own hired security. But if Trump if he took the time to learn about these things, I don't think he would allow that. Now, I think the ear that was, or who was bending his ear, was more Republicans than anything. And I hate to say that because, I mean, I vote conservative whenever I can. But the Republicans were cowards in this whole bump stock thing. The Republicans sat back and they didn't, they fall prey to what the Democrats do as far as the whole emotion thing. They get wound up, they get emotional, they hear emotional people, they hear emotional pleas from their constituents. So right after that Las Vegas shooting, bump stocks. They're bad. Who needs a bump stock? Who needs a bump stock? Nobody needs a bump stock. So all these Republicans, you got to figure that's last year, 2017. They're literally 12 months away from midterm elections. So these Republicans don't want to touch the bump stock issue with a 10-foot pole. Number one, they don't want to alienate all their constituents out there who are calling and writing letters to them saying we don't need bump stocks. They don't want to piss them off. But in a lot of cases, they were voted into office because they're pro-gun. Well, they don't want to piss off the pro-gun people either by trying to pass legislation to outlaw bump stocks, even though they probably want to. So they punted. They punted to the ATF. Instead of making legislation where they're supposed to, the Constitution tells you you're supposed to make those laws in Congress. Congress is who makes the laws. The laws are made in the House. They go to the Senate. They make it to the president's desk. And then that's how they go into law. Laws do not get created in the ATF, in little bureaucratic groups and organizations and departments. That's not who makes law. The Constitution tells us that. This is not my opinion. The ATF themselves cannot make laws. It's all unconstitutional what they've done up to this point. I'm not one of these radicals with a tinfoil hat on or anything like that. I'm just telling you that's how the Constitution reads. The Constitution reads that these laws have to originate in Congress, make it to the president's desk, and either be vetoed or signed into law. These little bureaucracies cannot make laws. They can't legislate. You can't legislate from a department. That's not a legitimate law. It may be some kind of a little statute or something that you're trying to pass or some kind of rule, but there's no legitimate law. You could make it to the Supreme Court, like some people have, and win when the ATF is passing rules that end up becoming laws that aren't real laws to begin with. Again, I know I'm kind of getting into the weeds on that, but there's precedent out there, and I mean, the Constitution is the Constitution. We get so wrapped up in worrying about some of these stupid things out there where we ignore the Constitution. The Constitution is pretty cut and dry. Kind of funny. I'm sitting here beating on this book and opening and closing the. I have the Federalist Papers, a book that I'm reading right now, on the Constitution. I mean, too many people are ignoring what the Constitution says, what it was intended for, and all that good stuff. So I feel like the Republicans were so afraid going into midterms to do anything with bump stocks, so they cowardly shunned their own responsibilities and kicked that to the ATF. Well, the ATF is sitting over there with their arms crossed going, dude, we sent a letter out back in 2010 saying bump stocks are accessories. They are not firearms. We don't have any jurisdiction over them. But the president is sitting here telling them, do something. I mean, that was his words. Do something about bump stocks. So now, between everybody else, the Republicans and Donald Trump, they're all telling the ATF, hey, we know you don't have jurisdiction, but make a rule, make a law, and we're going to put it into effect. So my thing is, I can promise you this much, guys. There are big-time attorneys out there, big-time attorneys, who are sitting back waiting. They've got the paperwork already printed out. The only thing that's not on there is the date that they're going to file these suits. They are going to sue the government so fast when this law goes into effect that it's essentially being put forth by the ATF. They're going to get sued so fast, and this will make it to the Supreme Court. If some of these liberal federal judges out there allow these people to be prosecuted and they don't go along with these lawsuits that are going to be passed or set forth against the government for trying to take their bump stocks, it's going to make it to the Supreme Court. It will. It will make it that far. Now, whether or not the Supreme Court agrees to see it is a different story, but my guess is they will, because this will be such a big item, they can't just ignore it. It's not like somebody, spilling a hot cup of coffee on themselves or something. It's going to be a big deal. But just like a video I put out last week or the week before, guys, I don't care what your thoughts are on a bump stock. I think they're pointless, useless. I got two of them. There's one right here. They're saying that those are going to be illegal, no grandfathering, and I have to turn them in to be destroyed. No compensation. The Constitution doesn't allow that. The Constitution is cut and dry. What is it, the fourth or the fifth? Is it the fourth? The Fourth Amendment, I believe, is the one that says that you can't have your stuff taken from the federal government without just compensation, and you can't have it taken from them or without being justly compensated. They can't do that. They simply can't do that. There is a law already in place that prevents anyone from outlawing me. What is it? Ex post facto or something like that? I forget what the exact term is. You can't make somebody retroactively a criminal. You can't pass a law that makes me retroactively a criminal. And that's what this would do. Now, the Constitution says that. Again, this is not my opinion. This is not even a law that Congress passed. This is the Constitution that says that you cannot make me a criminal based on something I did in the past that was legal when I did it. You can't do that. The Constitution protects us from that. So that's another. Look, the Constitution is just getting shredded with this whole bump stock thing. Again, I'm not going to lay down on my sword for bump stocks because I don't care about the actual bump stock. But the issue of the bump stocks is what's got me wound up because, as I said in my video the other day, what's next? If you give up your own liberties and tell the ATF, I'm not going to make my own choices now. I want you to make choices. Even though you don't have jurisdiction, I'm ceding you that jurisdiction. I am giving you that jurisdiction. Okay, so we get the next shooting. A guy shoots somebody, say, 600 yards away with a high-powered rifle. All right? Then Donald Trump says, hey, ATF, I want you to do something about scopes. Nobody needs to shoot beyond 500 yards. So now, because you let them regulate accessories that are not regulatable through the ATF, now they can sit back and go, all right, nobody has the need to shoot anything past 200 yards. So no optic is going to be available from now on that you can legally use that you can see past 200 yards, because nobody needs to shoot anything past that. Any scope that you have that can see beyond 200 yards is now illegal from this day forward. And if you're caught with one, you're going to be a felon. Tell me I'm wrong. How is that different than the bump stock? It's the exact same thing. In fact, if you really want to get down to it, a high-powered scope is a hell of a lot more valuable if you're trying to kill people than a bump stock is. Because I can promise you, it makes you more accurate. The bump stock does not. So if you really want to try to find out which thing might be more dangerous, I can promise you guys that scope, a good piece of glass, high-powered scope, is a heck of a lot more dangerous than any bump stock is ever going to be. So this is a big-time slippery slope. I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with Trump at all. Very disappointed in the man. Again, he's not. I know he didn't kick this to the ATF because he's anti-gun. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Trump's anti-gun. No, Trump just isn't strong on guns one way or the other. That's the problem. He's not committed to either side. It's not important to him. Guns are not important to Trump. He has no need for them. He's not like me. He doesn't walk out of his driveway and look both ways to see if somebody, situational awareness is not an issue for Trump. Trump doesn't have to walk outside and check his six to make sure somebody's not following him, because somebody else is checking his six to make sure somebody's not following him. You see my point? So the need is not there for Trump to care about guns. Unfortunately, that's how he is. It's just not, it's not high on his radar screen. It's not high on his priority list. But anyway, it's coming. I mean, it's going to happen. And boy, I tell you what, the news is going to get good whenever it does happen. It's going to get really, really good, guys. Let's see here. What were some of the other things I looked at? There's something else I wanted to. Where is that? Just real quick. I guess you guys have seen where Dick's Sporting Goods is looking to remove all hunting gear from its stores now. Dick's Sporting Goods has crapped in their own bed. These guys used to sell a lot of guns. They sold a lot of ammo. They used to sell a lot of AR-15s because they position themselves in malls and places like that are pretty heavily traveled. Then they want to appease and cater to the social justice warriors out there whenever there's a shooting. So they all of a sudden stop carrying the evil, bad AR-15. But they carry all kinds of other guns that are equally deadly, semi-automatic guns, shotguns, whatever else. But they've appeased the social justice warriors by not carrying the mean, old, scary AR-15. They are so stupid. Then they look back and they wonder, wow, why are our sales declining? Now they want to stop carrying guns altogether because nobody's buying any of their guns. Well, you know what? We gun owners are pretty good about voting with our wallets or choosing with our wallets. Do you really think that Dick's is so stupid that they don't realize their stand on AR-15s alienated us gun owners and we just stopped buying their crap? It's overpriced for one thing. I don't like shopping at big box stores anyway when I could buy the stuff locally. I shop local every chance I get. I don't care if it's gun cleaning equipment, ammo, guns, whatever. I do not buy my stuff at Walmart, Academy, Dick's, anything like that. But Dick's, I don't shop for anything at Dick's. Nothing. I don't shop for freaking underwear at Dick's. So now they're thinking about just getting rid of the whole hunting section because it makes me proud. It really does. It makes me proud to be part of this gun owners group because we are a committed group. You know what I mean? We really are. You have all these other groups out there, both sides, liberals and conservatives, that they whine and cry anytime somebody pisses them off, whether it's baking a wedding cake for gay people or something like that. I'm not going to shop there. And they still do. They still shop there. You know what I mean? They still get their stuff at these places. They're not open about it. They don't post their food on Facebook anymore that they get from the guy making the cake that made a cake for gay people, and now he's pissed off. I'm not shopping there anymore, but he still does shop there. Just now he doesn't post his cupcakes when he's gorging himself on cupcakes. We're different. Gun owners are different. Gun owners are very, very principle driven. And I'm very proud to be part of a group that can make a big chain store like Dick's close an entire section of their store because they can't make money anymore because we stopped buying their crap. That's a pretty good feeling, guys. We ought to feel really good about that. I'm serious. That's something we should wear like a badge of freaking honor. I hope they shut that whole section down. I hope they put treadmills and all kind of other bull crap out there. Because, yeah, maybe we don't have a place to buy guns there anymore. Obviously, we're not buying them. But every time they walk through that section now, they're going to remember, man, we used to have a pretty kick-ass hunting section here. And now look, all we got is treadmills and underwear. The Dick's that we have over here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, it's got a freaking archery place in there. It's got an archery lane that you can go in there and shoot arrows, bows and arrows in there. What are they going to do with that? We're going to go hit golf balls in there now? That's the thing that's funny to me, because these guys invested in the hunting and shootings. They made money at it. They would have not included firearms in a huge section in firearms. If you go into the Dick's over here, it's a big section. It's as big as the shoe section. They would not have made a section and committed that big of a section if they didn't make money on it, because every square foot in a retail store has a dollar figure tied to it. So they're not going to allocate this huge sporting goods section in the hunting section, rather, unless they're making a whole bunch of money off of it. So now all that revenue has just dried up for them. Again, that's a good feeling. We have some pretty good power when we put our heads to it. I'm very proud of the gun community for being as principled as they have been on this whole Dick's thing, because again, I'm like a proud papa when I see these headlines. There's 3 of them in a row I'm looking at right now. Let's see. Dick's Sporting Goods sales hit by tougher stance on guns. Dick's Sporting Goods sales continue to decline after new gun rules. Dick's Sporting Goods looking into removing all hunting gear from its stores. I'm like, yes, yes. It's so awesome, because somebody in a boardroom, somebody is getting their ass eaten out. And I don't mean in a good way. I'm talking about in a bad way. Somebody is getting reamed in these boardrooms because they're like, who is the jackass that made this move to piss off all the gun people? They can't even sell ammo in their stores anymore. Nobody's going to buy their crap anymore. And the funny thing is, and hopefully this is the truth, all these people that they alienated that stopped buying crap in their stores, hopefully they gave their local mom and pop shop a chance and went to see what they've got and realized they could probably buy it cheaper. Look, I remember whenever, I don't know how long Academy's been around, but when Academy first came out, and it wasn't even one of them here in town. We didn't have one in town. I forget where it was. It was somewhere in Texas. I just assumed big box stores, you kind of associate them kind of like a Walmart, thinking, Walmart has the better prices. I remember going in there kind of looking at their gun section, and I contemplated buying a handgun at it. And I remember looking at the price and going, that doesn't seem right. And it was probably $20, $30 higher. If I go to the local gun shops in this area, we've got Gator Guns, Action Arms, the Gun Cave, Robbins Gunsmithing. Those are the 4 that I know off the top of my head that are locally owned mom and pop shops. All of them have better deals than Academy does. And I'm not knocking Academy. Academy, they welcome concealed carry holders in there. They're pro-gun. Academy is. They're definitely not in the same category as Dick's is. But I still don't buy my gun stuff from there. But, you can look, and those 4 companies that I named locally, they'll beat almost, I'd say, from 20 to $50 per gun. Now, granted, when those big box stores have a sale, a lot of time the sales can be pretty good because they're buying in bulk, and now they can sell them at like a ridiculously low price that sometimes the mom and pops can't always buy. But for the most part, you're always going to find a better deal on a gun at the local mom and pops, you know. So as long as the local mom and pops are in business, I'm going to keep giving them my money because it only makes sense. I do not buy guns from Academy. I don't want to lie here. Have I ever bought a gun from Academy? I don't think so. I have bought ammo in the past from Academy that I could not find certain calibers, or actually with shotgun shells. I couldn't find the shotgun shells that I wanted at local mom and pop. So I remember buying shotgun shells from there. But guns, I don't think I've ever bought a gun from Academy. I don't think that I have. I know that I have. Well, no, I'll take that back. I have from Walmart many years ago. I bought a Mossberg turkey hunting shotgun from from Walmart, probably in the in the early to mid 90s, maybe. And I'm trying to think. The only gun shop that was open in our area at the time that I'm aware of was what was Greg's? Southwest Guns? Southwest Guns, I believe, on Common Street here in town. That shows you how long I've been shopping. Uh, and for whatever reason, I didn't get a shotgun from him. I actually had a friend that worked there. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's moral to the story is shop your mom and pops. You know, I hate seeing gun stores go out of business. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Because not like Dick's, they can go out of business. I'm talking about mom and pops because that's the lifeblood, man. Those are people who know their guns. They know how guns work. They know what works. You go to Academy, Walmart, Dick's, you're going to talk to somebody making minimum wage that got their gun knowledge from their dad, their uncle, or whatever time they've spent behind that glass counter at Dick's or Academy or whatever. That's the level of gun knowledge that you get. You go to a local gun store, look, nobody opens a local gun store, a small business, mom and pop shop, without being, committed to the gun industry. So they're already going into it knowing something about guns. But those people eat, breathe, and live guns. So they're gonna have way more knowledge. They can help you break things down. If something doesn't work, you can bring it back to them. If you go buy a gun from a big box store like an Academy or something like that, if it doesn't work or whatever, number one, you better get on YouTube, figure out what you're doing wrong, because that's probably the only alternative you have, because nobody at Academy is going to know what you're talking about. Or number two, you send the gun back to the manufacturer. You don't have somebody to take it back to. So again, my moral to the story again is please, man, please use your local mom and pops when you can. And I would say this too: if you're impatient about ordering guns and they don't have what you're looking for, almost everybody, any mom and pop shop you go to, they're 1 to 2 days away from getting almost anything you need, whether it's ammo or guns. I've seen probably 4 days max waiting on something that was kind of special and hard to get. Usually 2 to 3 days, you're probably going to be getting a gun in. Next thing I want to quickly go over real quick is pretty interesting to me was Black Friday brings spike in gun sales. That's a welcome sign to the gun industry. Let's see. It's a very short article. Let me read a couple of points from it. Black Friday is known for its deals on phones, TVs, and computers, but people we talked to were shelling out the big bucks for some guns. Gun shops across Lee County. I think this is in, this might be in Pennsylvania. I'm not 100% sure. Selling gun spies. I'm trying to find some numbers. I just saw the headline. On a Black Friday for us, we're going to see about 5 times the average daily sales on that one day of the year. This is from the Shoot Center owner, Aaron Forum, at wherever this is. I'll figure out where it's at. It says it's not just an increase in gun sales. Last year, the FBI ran 203,000 background checks on Black Friday alone, blowing away 2016's numbers. 2016's numbers were 185,000 background checks. Again, that's to 203,000 last year. So you had a spike during the Trump administration. That's kind of a big deal because if Hillary would have won, we'd be breaking records every day. Anyway, that was good. I like seeing that. I'm glad to know that the gun industry is starting to rebound a little bit. I think midterms may have a little bit to do with that. The fact that Democrats won midterms and the fact that we're already seeing legislation being pushed out there. Very, very anti-gun legislation. We gotta watch that stuff. I mean, there's some bad stuff going on out there. But I mean, I think that's going to affect gun sales in a positive light. We're going to start seeing that as far as the industry kind of rebounding a little bit. It's rough right now, guys. I'm not talking about just the mom and pops and all that. You know, the manufacturers and all that, they're laying off people left and right because sales are so slow right now. This was interesting to me. New York, reveal your passwords. Gun bill threatens more of the Second Amendment. This blows me away. You know, New York and California, and I know we've got Connecticut, Illinois, and some other, Oregon, Washington. Those places are almost as bad, but New York and California are so ridiculous. Those places volunteer to give up their gun rights. So they set precedent for the anti-gun people who see that some people in America are okay giving their rights up. So what it does is it emboldens the anti-gun movement, and then they try to shift these stupid little laws to those of us that are in pro-gun states and try to make them fly there, or they try to take these bills to Congress. Let me read you a little bit about what's going on there. This is incredible, guys. Close to 5.9 million people voted for governor of New York 3 weeks ago. In a 2015 survey, the scholarly journal Injury Prevention put the rate of gun ownership in the state at 10.3%. That's weak, New York. Come on, weak. 10.3%. That's your gun ownership? That's horrible. Do the math and you can understand why Andrew Cuomo, what a jackass, and most members of the state legislate easily won re-election despite perpetrating a public fraud like the SAFE Act. Let's see. Let me go down. Here we go. It's a perfect example of how the society works. Because most people don't own guns and know relatively little about firearms, politicians are able to fool the majority of the electorate who care little about Second Amendment rights because they think it doesn't affect them. That's the thing. You've got these, it's either anti-gun people or it's people who just don't care. They don't care if mine and your rights are taken from us because it doesn't affect them in their personal everyday life. But how stupid is that for any American to say, I don't use that constitutional right. That constitutional right that you're over there protecting is not important to me because it doesn't apply to me. So I don't care if you take it. When you tell the government they can take one constitutional right, that's opening a door for them to take all the other ones from you. So it really pisses me off when somebody that feels like they don't have a dog in the fight says, whatever, doesn't apply to me. No, it does apply to you. It will apply to you. It'll apply to you whenever they start taking your other constitutional rights away and you're like, what happened? Well, you gave them up, dummy. That's what happened. Let's see. I want you to see here it is. The ink wasn't even dry on vote totals putting Democrats in charge of the state Senate when Brooklyn's Kevin Parker introduced a chilling bill. It would require anyone applying for a handgun permit or for the mandated recertification every 5 years to provide the state police with their login and password so troopers can search their social media accounts for the prior 3 years and review their Google or Yahoo search history for the prior year. Okay, now this is just for the concealed carry and permits, but they've also floated this law to buy a gun. That way, if you want to buy a gun, you have to give them your Facebook login information, your password, and you have to, I don't know if you're bringing your computer in there or what, but maybe you log into your Google account, and they go in there and they search your search history. How is that not a massive violation of your Fourth Amendment? How? That is a huge violation of your privacy. For one thing, I'm going to tell them I don't have one. I don't have a Facebook account. Oh, we found one right here with your name on it and a picture that looks just like you. It's not me. Well, no, it says it's you. In fact, it says that you're coming down here to talk to us. Hey, it's not me. That's not mine. Well, is this your email address? That's my email address, but that's not me. I didn't do that. That's not my account. I don't have a Facebook account. What are they going to do? Throw me in jail because I'm not giving them my freaking login? Yeah, I know they're going to keep me from buying a gun, but I'm not giving it to them. I'm going to sue them and tell them, you prove that that's my account. You prove that somebody else is in there, logging in there and putting that stuff up there and making it look like that's my account. Guys, that's not cool. That is so not cool. These people in New York are so damn stupid. They're just going to hand over their constitutional rights because they vote in these jackasses up there that are so anti-Constitution that they're going to pass stuff like this. You violate a whole plethora of constitutional amendments whenever you put something like this out there. So now they're going to tell people, you got to give me your personal information. You got to give me your password. Some people have like one password for every single thing. So now you're going to be giving up a password to somebody that now could use that same password to go into your bank account, because a lot of people do use the same passwords for everything. Look at the problems this is going to cause. And I'll bet you it goes through. I'll bet it goes through. New York is just the type of place to let something like this crap go through. Unbelievable, man. It blows my mind that this even stands a chance. It blows my, when I read it the first time, I was like, no, that can't be right. That can't be, no. Because who's going to give up? You know what it's going to cause people to do? Get completely off of social media, cancel their accounts, or make a dummy account. Here's my account. Because look, I don't make threats on Facebook. I don't threaten people. I'll call people dipshits and things like that on there, but I don't threaten people. So now we're going to have a human being, because it's not like there's some kind of formula that you can apply and put this into a computer. There's going to be a person that takes my login information, goes in, that's most likely, because it's New York, it will be an anti-gun person. All it takes is somebody to go out there and log into my profile and see that I've sent pictures of guns to friends of mine, that I'm in probably 50 to 100 gun groups out there. Oh man, this guy here, he's a radical. He's a radical. This guy here, man, he's like one of these crazy radicals. Nope, can't have a gun. So it's going to all still come down to a person and their opinion. That's what it's going to boil down to. I don't need a permission slip to go buy a gun. I'm not applying for, it's bad enough that we fill out background checks now. I still feel like those are unconstitutional, but at least the background checks can keep some people that should not be owning guns from owning them. And that, I mean, I get that. I mean, I get it. I'm torn on subjects like that because it's still unconstitutional. Background checks are unconstitutional. They just are. I know they make sense. And I'm for background checks. I'm glad we got them, because I've seen people go in gun stores who have been denied that. I know it's profiling and I know it's judging people, but I'm like, dude, that guy should not have a gun. You can just tell they're unstable or whatever. I spend a lot of time in gun stores, and man, I just see people that I'm like, thank God they did not pass a background check, but it's still unconstitutional. Fill out a 4473 to get permission to buy a gun is unconstitutional. It just simply is. They're trying to punish me for something that I haven't done. You see what I'm saying? I'm basically being treated like a criminal, and I've done nothing to be treated like a criminal. So they're treating me like I have done something wrong when I've not. They're speculating, and it's a loose speculation. It's based on a person's opinion of what I might do based on what I have said 3 years ago. Unreal, man. Unreal. Good luck if you get drunk and get on your Facebook page, because you're going to create all kind of stuff that they can use against you. Guys, we got 5 minutes left. I'd like to go through some of y'all's comments because I have not even looked at y'all's comments. So I'm going to go through the comments real quick. There's some names in here that I don't recognize, so I'll call them out. I see we got DB Cooper in here. Your next is in here. Again, Misfit Minuteman, I told you hi. Robert Bunton is in the room. Ursula Scrunchy, William Velati, Liberty to Life, Mr. F&H is in here. Sleepy 1208, Bill Blitheract, Shark Chucker is in here. Good to see you. Jonathan Borley, Peter Lemon, Roger Kaiser, a bunch of you guys. David L, Isaac Landis, Isaac Landis. Ohio Slacker, I like that name. Roger Kaiser, I said. Liberty Life. So glad you guys joined us. Again, some names in there that I haven't seen before. So good to see those new names in there. Ralph McDaniel, what's up from Orlando? What's up from Louisiana? Avery Plank, I came in to listen about 5 minutes ago. I may be late. Avery, you are late because we got about 5 minutes left and then we're going to check out of here. So I apologize. Happy Friday from Pensacola. 9 kilo 35M. Avery Plank is in Detroit. Wow. Yikes. Let's see. Albany, New York. Wow. Albany, upstate. Good for you. Stay away from the city. You know that, right? Keith Gregory, can Georgia beat Alabama? Yes, I do believe that they can. You want to really mess up the national rankings? Georgia beats Alabama, and it screws everything up. Because then Georgia and Alabama both will be in the final, I say the final four, in the four playoff spots. 2 of those will belong to the SEC. That's going to piss people off. People only want one SEC team in there. But if Georgia beats Alabama, you cannot take Alabama out of the playoff system. You can't. Not when everybody else has lost one game. So if Georgia beats Alabama, everything's screwed up. Everything is just screwed up. But if Alabama beats Georgia, kicks them out, it allows the media to put Notre Dame in there, which is what they're dying to do. They want the most unqualified team in there, but because they're popular, they want Notre Dame in there. They don't play anybody. They don't have a conference championship to play, so it's easy. I mean, everybody should want to be a non-conference team like Notre Dame. Anyway, let's not make this into a football thing. I could talk about that crap all day. It really makes me mad about that. Let's see. Yeah, Ohio Slacker, Yingling Golden Pilsner over here. Well, I have the light, so I'm being a little weak tonight, but I have the Yingling light. Oh, yeah. Mr. FNH says, Paul, can we get a 6-hour live stream one day or night? 6 hours. Yeah, we'll try to pull one of those off. We'll do a marathon or something like that. Maybe we'll do something like that for New Year's or something, because I don't go out partying for New Year's anymore. Ursula says, just clicked in, and thank you. Thank you for joining us, Ursula. I appreciate that. Thy staff, thy will. Looked up details. Dix is removing the hunting gear from 10 stores from their beta test. Sweet. I like it. I like it. I'm glad they are. That's good for them. Lose that revenue. Let's see. Jacob Galvin says, what is a good first 1911? I'm leaning towards Dan Weston. I mean, Dan Weston, if you've got the money, that's not a bad entry level. That's not an entry level 1911. But I mean, if that's your first one and you got the money, that's a hell of a first 1911. I'm just a firm believer. I mean, I do a lot of stuff with Rock Island Armories. I think that's an awesome entry level 1911. They make great 1911s. They run. It's not because that's all I've got, because I've got, Doug Turnbull. I've got 2 or 3 of his 1911s. I've got Nighthawk, Wilson Combat, ton of Kimbers, Colt, Smith & Wesson, SIG. Gosh, if somebody makes a 1911, I've probably got it. I'm a big fan of 1911s. I just love them. I love everything about them. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if you got the money and you want to get a Dan Weston, that's a hell of a good 1911 to get into, man. Let's see. Francis Smith, we're for the Irish. I'm sorry to hear that, man. They're so freaking overrated. It pisses me off. Um, let's see. Sleepy 1208 says, is there a way to watch our show if they don't have cable? Man, I don't put the whole show out online, but you're not really missing much. I mean, as long as you watch our videos and if you're subscribed to our channel, you're getting all the videos. The only thing you're not getting is the commercials. But sometimes I'll do like spacers in the show where I'll kick the show off. That's something that a lot of times I'll say like, hey, like this week, I'm on a site where something new in town is being built, and I'm actually shooting video from there, and it's more of a, hey guys, welcome to the show, blah blah blah. So it's not like you're missing much. Again, if you're already a subscriber to us here on YouTube, you're getting all the content. In fact, sometimes I'll put the videos out on YouTube before they even run on Fox over here. So let's see. DB Cooper's running Jack Daniels. Good for you, man. Yeah, Roger Kaiser laughs. LOL, Dan Weston entry level. Yeah, it's definitely not entry level, that's for sure. Like I said, I wish my first 1911 would have been that nice of a 1911. That's for sure. Let's see. Misfit Miniman says Turnbull ? Yeah, Doug Turnbull up in New York. In fact, whoever was from upstate New York here, was it Albany? Doug Turnbull is up in the Rochester area. Now he doesn't sell 1911s specifically. He doesn't make them anymore. He does mostly restoration. If you've seen any restoration where they do case hardening or anything like that, he takes old guns and he just does some amazing things to them. He'll either restore them back to their old historic look, or he'll take them and he'll partially restore them, but then he'll case harden the steel. Actually, give you an idea, this is a Doug Turnbull 1911 before he stopped making them. He doesn't make them anymore. That's his little logo right there. It's a bull. You can see it right there. That's his logo. But I mean, that's a case hardened. This is all the case hardening right here. Pretty cool how they do the case hardening. And I had done some things for Doug, different types of videos and things like that, promoting his stuff because I like his guns. You can't really appreciate even like the bluing. It's just a beautiful silver gray bluing. And because I like this gun so much, and I bought this one when it came out, the case hardened steel and the style of gun, these are $200 giraffe bone grips. And Doug Turnbull gave me these giraffe bone grips to put on this gun. So I like the guy. He's just such a good guy, makes great stuff. And now since he doesn't make guns anymore, his business up there in the Rochester, New York area, he strictly restores things. If you want something case hardened, he can do it. Unbelievable. His work is unbelievable. He does a lot of work for, is it Nighthawk? I think it works in conjunction with Nighthawk now. I think that's like he takes their guns if they want things customized or whatever and does them for them. DB Cooper says Modelo Special. Yeah, that's good beer. I'm good on that. Did I read that right? Where's that at? Man, how did I miss this? I think somebody said they were, God dog it, where's it at? Here we go. 240 pixel, greetings from Lithuania. Wow. How in the world we get somebody from Lithuania stumble into this room? Greetings. Glad you could make it, man. Mr. F&H says the audio on the 1911 video was crazy. Ear rape. Oh, that's for the ultrasonic cleaner that I had. Yeah, I'm filming that video. I took these 1911s here. These Rock Island Armory 1911s that I've been abusing, and then I ran them through my ultrasonic cleaner. They don't look very nice, but they are clean, clean, clean. That may not look clean to you, but they're cleaner than the silverware that's in my kitchen right now. Very clean. So, and very dry. If you know anything about ultrasonic stuff, it's the electronic waves in there, and it breaks all that dirt loose and it comes away from there, but it also pulls oils and things like that. And it kind of has something to do with your solution that you have in there also. So you're supposed to lubricate these things like right away. I'm not going to, because it's part of my gun bully segment, which they sound pretty good right now. The best they've sounded in a while. But we're going to go shoot them tomorrow. They will probably start rusting pretty soon, because again, I know your hands tend to, they have stuff on there that's not good for your finish on your guns usually, but they also kind of, the oils you have in them will preserve your guns to a certain degree. I mean, I'm not telling you to rely on that, but when you use an ultrasonic, you've taken all the oil completely out of any of the membrane or anything. And it's very susceptible to rusting. You're supposed to oil these, like you really need to get oil on these things pretty fast when you use an ultrasonic cleaner. And again, I'm not going to. So probably by tomorrow, I would bet. It's very, very humid right down here in Louisiana right now. I know that sounds kind of redundant because we usually are, but it's extremely humid down here right now. It rained just a minute ago, actually. So these things will probably rust in the night. I'm not putting anything on them. Again, that's the whole point of the gun bully segment. Let's see. God dog it. It rolled again. I'm trying to hurry up because I know we're going over the time right now. Sometimes I can talk a little too much. Let me get in here. Yeah, it scrolled past it. So I'm sorry I missed some of y'all's comments. I'm just trying to get y'all stuff in here. Wow. So Sleepy 1208 says they're building a Dick's in Beaumont in the old Gander Mountain building. Really? I didn't realize that. I hate that Gander Mountain closed down. I used to go to the Gander Mountain in Beaumont. I never had a problem with that. Let's see. Bass Pro says, check your gun at the door. What? I did not realize that. I may have gone up way too fast, or way too far, I should say. Let me get back down here where you guys are, your more current questions. Oh, Roger Kaiser's got to go. He's got to work tomorrow. See you, man. God, this thing's rolling fast. My experience with the Red-Headed Rambler says, what's your experience with the 450 But? Oh, man. I literally just clicked out of this thing. I just lost everything. I don't know how this happened, but I clicked out of it. I'm back in it now, though. With the 450 Bushmaster, it kicks like a mule, and it's a pretty destructive round. Other than the video that I did on it, that's it. I haven't done a whole lot with it, but it's fun to shoot if you like getting hit really, really hard in your shoulder. I'm finally at that age now where I'm not trying to act like I'm tough. When something hurts and hammers you in the arm from the recoil, it's not fun to me anymore. Let's see. Keith Gregory says, what is your everyday carry? Today, because I was jogging earlier, or I say today, right now, it's a Glock 43. It's a Glock 43. This thing is pretty, in fact, it's pretty holster worn. You can see, which you really, of course, the camera, you can't really tell. Up in here, you can see the holster wear pretty good on it. In fact, you can really see it back in here. That's all silver right there from the holster wear. But that's what I got right now. I rotate between some guns, and again, some of these YouTube guys will tell you not to do that. I train with my guns. I practice a lot. I shoot a lot. I just do. And I will rotate a Glock 26. This is like, I would say, my summer to fall and spring clothes, like what I'm wearing now. I'll carry a subcompact. So it's usually a SIG P320, an HK VP9SK, a Glock 27, excuse me, Glock 26. Sometimes at 43, but usually I won't carry that unless I'm wearing shorts, jogging pants, or something. I mean, I'll jog with that. There's like 4 of them that was that 4? Seems like I'm missing something. Anyway, that's pretty much what I carry. A subcompact 9mm is what I carry on a regular basis, and mainly, for round count, things like that. Reading through y'all stuff. Misfit Minuteman asks, when's the show on Fox? The show's on Fox 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings, every Sunday. Let's see. I'm scrolling here as fast as I can. Jonathan Borley says he's considering getting a Browning high power as his first pistol. I mean, that's awesome. Prepare to pay for one. They're not cheap right now because Browning stopped making them. I'll tell you what you should do. This is an old, this is pretty cool. This gun's pretty neat. This is an old Browning high power right here. I got this thing, believe it or not, I think, yeah, eBay. I got this thing on eBay. You can get on there and find different manufacturers out there that will do this. Company right here that sold this thing to me, they won a bid for buying a bunch of Israeli guns. This used to be a Israeli police officer gun, a little lanyard loop, or the loop right there. Essentially, it's just pretty much holster wear. I mean, you can see that's almost just holster wear that you see on there. But this company they won that bid from Israel, bought all their guns, brought them over here, imported them, and then they sold them. I got that thing for a pretty good price. Now, that was before Browning announced they were going to stop making these guns anymore. Now that they stopped making them, man, I don't know what those things cost. I looked on Gun Broker or something like that, and I want to say the cheapest high power I could find was about $1,400, and that's way overpriced. I would not spend that. You should be able to get one for, well, I say you should. You used to be able to get one for $600 or $700. I don't know what they're going to go for now. So good luck. I mean, you're not gonna find one for a really good price. If you do, let me know, because I'd be very interested if you can find one for a decent price. I would love to get my hand on a new one. I don't have a new one. Let's see. All right, guys, I'm going to have to bug out of here because I can hear my son, and I think he's ready for me to, it won't be long. It'll be time for him to go to bed. So, guys, I'm going to bug out of here. I'll tell you what, I will leave this going for a little while, but not for too long, probably 10 or 15 minutes. I'll leave the chat room open. I'm going to get out of here. And if you guys want to hang out for a little while, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to turn my AC unit back on, and I will catch up with you guys later on. You guys take care. Thanks again for hanging out. I always appreciate it. We will be back again next Friday night. And hopefully I have more stuff to talk about next week. I just kind of ramble on about some of the news going on this week. There's a lot of kind of things going on in the news right now that I'm kind of keeping my eye on. And hopefully we can, some of those things will start taking place and taking shape this coming week, and we can talk more about them next week. So anyway, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks, fellas.